Today, over 10,000 EMS workers across the state don't have adequate rest and meal breaks. They don't have adequate protection or training against workplace violence, putting themselves in harm's way on a daily basis. These private sector EMTs don't have limited access to mental health care and are higher risk of post-traumatic stress syndrome, depression, and suicide. That is not only sad and regrettable, but is also preventable. AB 263 recognizes that for too long, private sector EMTs and paramedics have been forgotten. That stops today. As many of you know, I'm not only a member of the State Assembly, but also I have been an emergency medical technician for over 30 years and continue to take shifts. I know what it's like to eat meals on your lap and in a rush. I know what it's like to have a hard day and not know where to turn.
Wages for private sector EMS workers are low and stagnating. Private sector jobs lag well behind their public sector counterparts in job quality, compensation, and opportunities for career advancement. Just to give you a sense of this, in 2014, the hourly median wage for private sector EMS workers in the state was $16.49 an hour. That compares to $27 an hour for the public sector EMS workers. Adjusted for inflation, the median wage for private sector EMS workers actually fell 12% between 2007 and 2013. More than a third of the workers earned less than $13.63 an hour, which is a common measure for low-wage work in the state, and a quarter of the private sector EMS workers were in households with incomes below 200% of the federal poverty line. EMS workers work long hours. Most work 12 to 24-hour shifts and are only eligible to stop working due to fatigue after 15 hours.
With such public investment, California should set a higher standard for wages and working conditions. Our research shows that the state should fortify relevant statutes with stronger labor standards for EMT and paramedics. These standards should include higher wage requirements and health and wellness provisions. We also found the need to minimize health risks to EMS workers. This includes placing time limits on posting, requiring access to adequate meal and rest breaks, and directing greater private and public sector resources towards mental health care. Finally, continuing education requirements should be revamped and protections for incumbent workers should be established when contracts change to promote the creation of long-term, well-trained EMS workforce. Turnover rates should be reported by private companies and considered by LEMSAs in granting exclusive operating contracts. The emergency medical services is both a critical healthcare and employment sector.
It's unfortunate that the stresses that we have remain a constant over the last 24 years. In that 24 years, I've had 4 of my colleagues and members commit suicide as attributed to the PTSD and the post-traumatic stress and the critical incident that they've encountered in the job. I know that mental health for EMS is a very complex issue, but as we look at the financial and budgetary landscape in the state of California, and as we see budget cuts to mental health, social services, for the homeless, drug and alcohol programs, we are seeing this increased violence and this increased stress. These are just a few cornerstone foundational pieces to relieve some of that stress in the hopes of preventing violent injuries from our members and our providers that provide care to your families, as well as the first steps to decreasing the amount of incidents that we have of suicide in our industry.